Hello. Very late. Lots and lots of technical difficulties. The puppy's literally like on my lap right now. Let me get my tablet going because you guys know I can't see anything, so I'm so sorry. Let me see who's here. Sorry for the wait, y'all. Let's see. So initially, part of the problem was me trying to share my screen, like my tablet screen. But of course, as you guys know, I don't really have a computer for it right now. Like I do, but it just doesn't work for StreamYard. So let's not drop you before we even start the live. So I was trying to kind of like share my iPad with you guys because I wanted to do some digital stuff. That wasn't a thing. Let's not have you look up my notes. Sorry. Hey Sarah. Hey Liz. Let's see. Cameras. Not that one. No, I was taking my time, Sarah. So sorry, girl. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Naomi. Okay, so the original plan was for me to work on some designs. So as you guys know, one of my colleagues, like we're kind of like working on a whole bunch of things together. One colleague, one ex-colleague technically, we kind of started like a little mini small business. She had a lot of ideas like in regards to vinyls and sweatshirts and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't particularly have the time to like design it or come up with that stuff. And you know the client base, so why don't we work on that, right? Like you come up with the ideas and I just literally make the content. I have the technology, the equipment, we'll just split half and half, right? Like it's your ideas, but I'm the one kind of like making it, bringing it to motion, like physical, tangible things. I got my nails done, y'all, so I'm talking with my hands. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try not to. But that's one. But the second colleague, I'm doing a whole bunch of like personal gifts for her for the holidays. And I have a list. I have a list about maybe like 9 or 10 projects. Some of them were like personal and had like pictures and stuff on it, so I didn't want to show you that. But I did want to show you some of the other ones, like how I use my iPad. You know, with the fact that I am very limited, how do I use what I have to make it work? Especially when my computer is super slow. It doesn't always particularly load. I can't always connect it to anything, or you know, sometimes Canva won't load, things won't download from Canva on my laptop because it is hitting 12 years. Like it's definitely 11, almost 12 years old now. So I wanted to kind of show you guys how I did things within my parameters, but of course those very same parameters limited me, so we'll see. But I still wanted to get on just because work still has to get done, right? I did these 5 tubes last night. I may just close these up and kind of chat with you guys, see how you've been doing. I've just been exhausted, like mentally, physically, just drained. I've been working so long back to back to back without really having like a day off. I don't remember the last time. I just did nothing. I can't tell you when. I don't know. Do not know. Did some cleaning yesterday and today. Feeling very calm. The only room that's like a hot mess right now in my house is my craft room, which ironically is the one room I'm sitting in. I didn't do like deep cleaning. I just did like quick cleaning, if that makes sense. So for me, I have ADHD, and I can't focus on one thing for too long, or I get bored, or I get overwhelmed. So I told myself, I was like, okay, you know, you have things you need to do. Why don't you clean for like an hour, or just do this one thing really quickly? When I first got home from work, I was gonna take a nap because that's how tired I am, or was. But I got home and I had like this random burst of energy, so I was like, you know what? We're gonna take it. We're gonna use it. And I cleaned up all of my downstairs in an hour. I had boxes that had been sitting at the top of my stairs for months. Months. I had my sister help me yesterday. She took them down the stairs. I had 3 big boxes of shipment of yarn come in. 2 of them were sitting downstairs. One of them were actually up here, and that was only because my mother brought it up for me again months ago. But my sister helped me bring up the last 2 yesterday. And while yarn isn't really heavy because there's so much of it, it's big and it's awkward with my back. I can't lift it. So she helped me with that. That's up here. At other boxes, I remember, I think my last time I was telling you guys that I was like standing around boxes. I took all that stuff down. I broke the boxes down. I took it outside. I took trash out. I cleaned. I organized. The dresser that was like staring at me right in my face, that's in my room now. I kind of organized those things. I have a little corner in my room that's like still craft room remnants. It's still going to be there. When I get to it, I'm going to organize and kind of get it together. But I want to finish doing this first. And I know I won't really be able to do this until after market season. And that's okay. That's okay. I've been rambling, so let's see who else has joined. Hey, Beth. A disaster zone. Our craft room. You know me, our craft room. There's one girl that I watch to learn actually how to use my knitting machine, which I may use. I just don't know how loud it's going to be, and I don't want to like kill your guys' ears. I feel like it's almost as loud as your embroidery machines. But she's like a messy crafter, and she would always like show us like in her tutorials, you know, like this is my little setup. Outside, chaos. Pure chaos. And I don't mind showing you guys my mess. Honestly, I told you I'd rather be real. I feel like it's a lot more relatable. It doesn't hold us to like these high expectations and all that good stuff. I don't care to be fake. You're using yours. Yeah. Do you love it? Have you made, like, what have you made so far? Like, what projects have you done, Sandy? I have so many tutorials I want to make. I'm not anywhere near where I need to be, for sure. Okay. I'm going to try using this. Please tell me if it's too loud, because it's even in front of me right now, and I will definitely be using my drill. It would be lower if I didn't use my drill, but I need to use my drill. We got to get things done. I have 3 pinks. I know 3, it seems like enough, but I know it's not. And then I have markets. So I have 1 main market. You made a scrunchie. Nice. I want a name sheet. Honestly, you can't go wrong with the Sentro. It's inexpensive. Some of the only downside to the Sentro is that you're limited on the yarn that you use. Like, you can't use like the bulkier yarn, but it still works. Like, it's great. Sometimes the row counter will stop working, but there's hacks around that. And it actually comes with a tensioner. The addi does not. Like, I had to buy this from someone. Like, I had to buy my tensioner from someone, which the dog ate part of. And I bought 2 because I know myself. I break things. And that was before the dog. So I digress. I love it. You would love it, Sarah. I'm surprised you haven't used one before. Yeah, you can't use too thick. Honestly, you want to stay with like a worsted weight 4. max. That's max. And even then, some of them, like if it's more of like the cheaper yarn or like the lower end cost yarn, sometimes some of the yarn, my favorite, like my go-to yarn is always the Impeccable brands. I've used it like to crochet in general. I've just always loved this yarn. I feel like it's always been super soft. The yarn is in my mouth. Oh, excuse me. It's super soft. And then this one is a worsted weight. Let's see. But what I was saying, because I distracted myself, is like how entwined the strand is. You don't want anything that's too loose, because even then when you're going through the teeth on the knitting machine, it can kind of get stuck and it'll pull, it'll break apart, or it'll get your gears stuck, and you don't want that. Not your gears, your teeth stuck. Like the yarn will break apart in between the hooks and the needles and stuff, so you don't want that. That happens to me all the time, Liz. Can you guys hear my dryer? Or not my dryer, excuse me, it's my washing machine. It's spinning. You're making gifts. Do it. I'm literally about to make headbands now. You need 90 rows. 85 to 90, depending. But generally, my go-to is 85, just because I know my yarn stretches a lot. I don't want to make it too big and then it be too stretched out. So I tend to err on the side of caution because I know it will expand eventually. No, I haven't seen it. Did you post it on Discord, Sarah? I have I actually gave away some of my my Sentro machines. I wish I had known you guys beforehand. I have one Sentro left, which I've already told my newest colleague, the newest member to join the team, that I would give it to her. But if not, I would have definitely sent it to you, Liz. I don't use it because I have the addi. But I had like 2 or 3 of the smaller addis, like the smaller centros, because that's what I started out with first. That's what I use. I use a smaller knitting machine to make my baby headbands, and the row counter stopped on. I don't think it ever worked. Period. And then one, I feel like it just kept getting stuck, so I ended up buying another one because they're so inexpensive. I was like, well, screw it, I'm just gonna buy one. My dad got me one, and then like one got lost in the mail, and then I think it eventually showed up. Oh, there was a mess. For some reason I had multiple, and it didn't make sense as to why I had multiple. But when I got the King, or the Addi, excuse me, when I switched over to the Addi brand, I was like, yeah, I don't need this. Someone else can play with it. They can learn from it. Like, I mean, start where you can, right? Daisy says she always blames me for things. She's actually sitting here, like, laying right next to me. Let me see if I can, like, she's right next to my bag. Oh, hold on. I don't want to, like, disturb her because she's going to be mad at me. She's, like, right here. She's like, what are you doing, Mom? Don't fall. Okay. Sarah, where did you post the ornament? I saw the picture of progress. It's on Discord. Okay, but I have to look in there then. Yes, it was a red heart for super. Yeah. You may not like this comment because I know people are very particular about their yarn preferences. I do not care for red heart. I've always felt it's really hard. Even again, like for crochet in general, I've never cared for red heart. My mom is obsessed with red heart. I feel like it's very hard, and it does definitely peel a lot. Like it's not as tight. Like it's not as tightly woven, or whatever the terms are, but it's not as it's not good for the machine. At least I think it's not good for the machine. There are a lot of crafters who use red heart. I feel like Impeccable is good. Karen Simply Soft is another popular one. the yarn from Hobby Lobby. A lot of people use that as well. Your headlamp. I need to get one of these headlights. I feel like I'm missing something. Honestly, I feel like I would need it, especially with sewing, because I haven't been wearing my glasses like I'm supposed to, and I can feel the tension in my eyes, which is why I felt even more exhausted because I'm like straining myself to see. But when I'm sewing, because I'm trying to make sure I'm like in line and everything is like so much thinner, I'm just like, I definitely need a headlamp. All right, so we're gonna cast on. Liz, what snacks are you getting? Did you get your snacks? I just had dinner not too long ago. I low-key want snacks. I forgot I had this Coke. So we're gonna finish drinking it, but I have water on the floor as well. The dog woke up to the. This is not for you, ma'am. It's okay. You have a time with me, okay? Mommy has to work. Alright, so let me cast on. Actually, I think this white here is Red Heart. I tend to, again, my mom is obsessed with it, so she's passed off a lot of her yarn to me. I have, and then with me being very anal and OCD, I only have like about 9 colors that I use for the business. Any other colors that I have at the house that I know I don't need for a specific project, it's all waste yarn. All of it is waste yarn. I have this bin here of yarn that I've already used as like waste or starting yarn. And then after every project, I take it off and I just reuse it until I literally can't anymore. Sometimes, again, because this is cheaper yarn or it's not best, like it's not good for the machine, it'll still kind of catch. And after a while, it'll fray or it's just harder to kind of pull off of the, the stitches that I need. So I end up cutting it. And I'm okay with that because I wouldn't have used it for an actual project and it's getting used anyways. So what I like to do is, if generally I'll use like 1 or 2 skeins at a time and then just like repeat all the little like break offs for a while because I've been restocking so much. I've gone through so much of it. So what I've started doing is, this is kind of like my starting yarn, because if you're using the knitting machine, you don't particularly have to start on the black needle, or I think in your case maybe the white needle, Sandy, but you definitely want to end with the waste yarn on the needle, like the first needle, so that you can start counting your rows. You know where you've stopped and you started. When you're using scrap that's already been used before, and for me, sometimes I don't always give myself a lot of give, where I end up having to cut pieces of it. I play chicken, and I have to take everything off and reset the machine. I can't stand that. So because I know I have this really large skein of white that I'm not really using, I'll just start with this and then end it with this, because it doesn't matter if I run out, because it's going to end up getting taken off with this. Okay, let's see. Burnett. I haven't used that one, honestly. Oh. I really want cereal. What? Do you not drink almond milk? I mean, there's also like lactate. I think that's what my my aunt uses for my little cousin. Yeah. So the suction cups are both good and bad. It's great because your machine doesn't move as much. My Addi, I had like a little round, actually like table that was out in the garden as like my table for the Addi. But because I knew I was going to be video chatting with you guys, I just ended up putting it on the chair because the chair is clean and my table is not. So if I end up shifting views to like show you like a overview of my knitting machine, you could kind of see and will not be distracted by mess. But mine doesn't like suction down. Like I have to actually use these brackets. I'll untighten it to show you. But I've scratched myself like on my leg. I honestly would rather the suction cups. Like I've contemplated gluing suction cups to this because I've scratched myself like really, really bad. So this is the bracket itself. Generally, depending on the width of your table, it's normally up here. Like I just loosened it, so it's gonna be higher up. There's a lot here. This is always hanging. I've like literally on my thigh. I'm wearing pants now, but y'all know we don't always wear pants when we craft. Sometimes I wake up and I'm in my robe. This is not safe. This is dangerous. I've bled because of this. Like I've literally scratched my thigh really, really bad. And thankfully, I don't remember if I had this piece yet or not. Or if I did it, just barely miss it. But had it messed up my tattoo, I would have been so angry. So angry. At myself, at the addi, at all of it. All of it. Yeah, I remember like when my sister was born, my mom would complain about like the cost of milk or like the cost of a gallon of milk in regards to like whole milk and like 2%, 1% and stuff like that. But I was watching a skit the other day where like whole milk is technically 3%. It's actually like pi% of milk or something. I don't remember the math to it, but it was very funny. When I get coffee from McDonald's, I'm not lactose intolerant, but over time your body does end up becoming lactose intolerant because we're not really supposed to be drinking another person, like not another person, but like another animal's milk. We were meant to only really be drinking milk at birth, like until we couldn't eat, while we were like getting our teeth and stuff situated. After we started like being able to eat, there's no reason for us to really like drink milk for real. Like we're the only weird mammal that does that. So we're not supposed to continue drinking it, so our bodies start reacting to it. One, just health, fat. It's easier or it's healthier to not drink regular milk. So I switched to almond milk like years ago. While yes, it is a little bit more expensive because I live by myself and I don't always eat or cook. Whenever I would buy regular milk, I'd one, forget. Two, if I remembered it, like I wouldn't drink it all in a go. Like if you think a gallon of milk is expensive, Liz, have you ever bought a quarter or a quart of milk, a pint or whatever the measuring things are? Because I don't even know what they're called. Well, like half a gallon or even like a pint, the little tiny ones. That's highway robbery. But I'd have to get those because I wouldn't be able to finish a gallon in a week, even if I inhaled cereal every night for dinner, which again, it has happened sometimes. I'm still not going to drink it all in the time frame that I have, so it would go to waste. So I feel like in a way I'm just paying a little bit more, but not really because I'm not wasting it. Almond milk lasts so much longer. I've had almond milk in the like refrigerator for like over a month. No shame. It doesn't expire for like, I'm good. She finna last. Yeah. And I use a like unsweetened one. I don't even eat the sweetened one either. I love me. And like even the unsweetened almond milk still has like a hint of sweetness to it. Like it has the flavor without the added sugars. Hey Sandra, you're definitely not late. I was very late gathering myself to even start this live. Yeah, we had to. It's funny that you say that. My little cousin is autistic, and he has a very bad habit of watching Caso Cerrado. And you know their language isn't the most appropriate for children. She's very colorful. So he would repeat what she would be saying, and we didn't want that because that's not good for him. He shouldn't be speaking like that. So for all like the adults around him, they had to like either hide or delete their YouTube altogether, because anytime he would take their phones, he'd go straight to YouTube and start watching Caso Cerrado. All of them. All of them. So we had to get like YouTube Kids only for him, and like hide. Like for my grandmother, we had to delete it from her phone. She doesn't really use it like that anyways. She's learning about it now. She'll watch like Ana Gabriela concerts and stuff like that, and Wookie. Like she'll ask my mom to like put a concert on for her, but she does it on the TV, not her phone. And for my sister, we had to hide it somewhere else so that he couldn't find where it was. We even had to restrict it off the internet because he even knew to go into the internet to go onto YouTube. It was a mess. It was a mess. Yeah, same. And then honestly, I don't even care about brands. Like, I'll get like the great value. I don't care. To me, it's all the same. They all have more or less the same amount of calories. They all say more or less the same things. The only difference is the price. I'll get whatever's on sale. Whatever's cheaper. Okay, let me start this because I still have it. So this is going to be my end. And then I have, it's not technically cold in here, but my hair, my little baby hairs were sticking up. So, you know, it's not be looking crazy on here. Because I was sweating earlier cleaning. Oh, my little headband. She's coming in clutch. Okay. If you guys want to see what I'm doing, let me know. I can always change the angle of this. And please, please tell me if this is too loud, because I do not want to hurt anyone's ears. Because I know I tend to watch YouTube on the TV. So if you guys are watching on your TV, it's going to get loud. This is my friend, my drill. I feel like I've been taking that same like thread off of everything. Like I take it off one thing and I put it on something else. And it's funny because Daisy's literally sleeping right next to me. Not bothered. She's used to this. Mind you, a car drives by and she starts howling like a nut. So my girl, irrelevant. She could honestly care less. It is louder. There's a lot. I think they're all plastic, but this is a lot heavy. It's more heavy duty, I guess. Like it's sturdier. So I feel like it makes a lot more rattling noises, if that makes sense. Also, with the fact that it's not suctioned down, I feel like there's a lot more friction from like the legs on the tables and stuff. What's making up most of the noise is this. I didn't mean to like flash you guys. What's making a good amount of the noise is this. It's the drill against the handle, because the handle makes sense, but the fact that the handle's being moved and shifted so quickly, I feel like that's where a large amount of the noise is coming from. Like if you haven't gotten your adapter yet, Sandy, you're not making noise. Like your machine is quiet right now. Which reminds me, I was very serious about sending the adapter that I have. I think it's like around here somewhere in my chaos. I also have to oil my machine, which is why you hear that grinding sometimes. I feel like I need to oil it, and I have not. That's not gonna happen tonight, so. I don't, and that's part of why I got the addi as well. So with the sentro, if you go too fast, you can skip stitches. You can also skip stitches on the addi as well, but it's less likely to happen just because of the way you feed in the yarn. But let me show you how I set my yarn up. You guys are just gonna stare at the machine. I hope that's okay. Thank you, Naomi. I know sometimes you get sick, so please be careful. Okay, let's see. So let's move this to settings, camera, back view. Okay. Let's try to make this make sense. My cables are confused. Okay. I feel like I'm on the wrong side of the chair. All the things. Hold on, y'all, because the struggle. The shoes are in the way. Just all the things. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Let's move you. Okay. Okay. Oh, the struggle. Okay. This is like a weird angle, but it's gonna work for now. Okay. So this is the way that it looks here on the addi. I feel like it's a lot closer to the teeth or the needles technically in this case than it is on the centro. The centro, if I'm not mistaken, was a lot lower or not as close, which is why you get more drop stitches. The needles are more or less the same. The needles on the addi though are a little bit stronger. And I'll show you how I switch yarns now. So this is what I was saying. So for me, I just cut this now. If I was using, let's say, this yarn that I had here, my waist yarn that I'd already used prior, if I didn't leave enough of a tail, I could have run out of yarn down here and had to take all of this off to go again because I need to start here. I want to start and end at the same needle. Hey, Z. Okay, nice. You're gonna see how fast I'm going. Hey Z, I'm restocking on some headbands right now. So yeah, this is my tensioner. I keep her close by. I'm gonna show you guys how I do it. So we're gonna go with pink because I still need a lot more pink. Pink is one of my most popular colors. I had one that I started with yesterday, unless I finished it. I don't think I did though. Okay. We're gonna start in this cane because why not? She might be on the floor. She sure is. Okay, she's over here. Okay. All right, so I know how much yarn. I've done this long enough that I know exactly how much yarn I need to seam my ends and also sew the stitch. So I start my first row by looping the yarn around my hand 6 times. I think I've measured it once or twice before. It may be like 20 inches or something like that. I don't remember. It's in one of the tutorials coming out if I ever decide to actually edit a video again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I'm adding in a new color, I like to put put it in through here. No. Yes. Yes. This gets slid in through here, and then I loop it back down through the middle tensioner. On your centro, you have the different tensions. Normally with worsted weight, you're going to be in the middle. You also do this so that you have enough stretch and give within your projects. Okay. The main thing I like to do is make sure that on my first hook here, I have both my ending and my beginning color on that same one. Technically, you can end the white here, but I like to do this in case, even if I drop a stitch, I'm still secured by the white. Okay. I tend to go a little slow on the first round, but that's it really. I'm going to go ahead and reset my row counter to 0 since I'm starting fresh. And then that's it. Like, I'm going to just use my drill. Like, there's no need for me to go slow now. If you see here, again, this is further down, and the loop here, the tooth is literally just eating it. I'm holding it, but I don't even have to hold it. It's more so for tension. This is lower down here, and then it's coming up here. It's not gonna drop anything, honestly. The only time I have drop stitches frequently are when I'm doing my 2-colored skeins. And again, I have a tutorial on that coming out fairly soon, whenever I get to editing. I'm trying to just tighten this a little more. I don't want it moving around or anything. Let's pick up my beverages. Okay. ¿Te quieres bajar? Bájate. ¿Te bajas? ¿No te bajas? ¿Qué estamos haciendo, mija? I'm not sure what you mean by even with the waist yarn. Oh, you can hear the echo, can't you? I'm closer. I don't know how to like completely make this quiet. It won't go any lower. Oh, I know what I can do. I don't need to be in StreamYard. I just go to YouTube. Bear with me. Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like there's gonna be an ad. Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, you're starting at the same exact needle. Yeah. I told you. Okay, yeah. So for me, with the waist yarn, I literally kind of just get the machine started, and then I'll do a couple of rounds, which is why I honestly also have so many rounds of waist. Again, I'm going to reuse this over and over and over again. I don't mind having extra rows, because that also means that my actual piece is protected. I can knit, like if I'm really just solely knitting or like restocking, I've timed myself, Sandy. I can get one headband done start to finish, like just literally panels. So Diana Levine Knits is a lot where I got my knitted bag pattern. I tend to like talk to her often on Instagram, and she was doing some for holiday gifts, and she was like, I don't know how you guys do these in bulk. And I told her, I was like, honestly, one day, like I'll spend a day or two literally just working on panels. So like I started these panels last night, right? So oh, I think my Safari is still on. Let me get out of here. I started these panels last night, and I'm not going to work on these right now. I'm going to keep working on this because I can walk around with this. I can't walk around with my machine. So I'd rather have this, I'd rather have my panels ready and on the go, because they're just easier to work with. Whereas, like, again, my knitting machine, I'm not walking around with my knitting machine. That's not going to be a thing. So I try and get as many done as I can. Ideally, my comfort number for one market is 5. I want to have at least 5 done of one color. At the very least 3, and then two panels, because I know I can work on it at the market. If it sells, I'll just replace it right then and there. I'll close her up, and I'll close up the seams and then sew it up. In pink, I'm on 19, and you saw I haven't really used it in a while. So I'm gonna go until at least I finish this, and then I'll see where I'm at, and we can compare notes, Sandy. But yeah, I can get one panel done, start to finish, literally just the panel, in 5 minutes. And that's generally with me fighting yarn like I am right now. One-handed, because I barely let go of the drill. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm literally sitting here fighting the yarn. And then this is another bin that I have here. This is the waste or the scrap yarn that I have for the smaller addi. I try to keep the colors separate so I don't get them confused. Okay, so we're done here, more or less, right? I finished with the skein. I'm at 36. What row are you at, Sandy? Wait, you stopped working altogether? What happened? Ma'am, can you please be careful with my beverage? Now is not the time to play fetch. Oh, you only needed 20. Okay. You're working on the scrunchie then. I thought you started your headbands. All right. We'll see. We'll race when you work on your headband. So I'm gonna add another skein. Oh yeah, the drill for sure. And then one of the girls, I forget her name. Can you leave my beverage casing? Daisy, please. Come on. She has for the Centro. She uses the Centro. I don't think she has an Addi. Excuse me. She has like this automatic thing that like she doesn't even use the drill. Like the thing just goes on its own, and I'm just like, bruh, I need that for the Addi now. The headband is easy, Sandy. I promise. If you're doing scrunchies, you can do a headband. I will literally do one start to finish with you right now. I feel like the things, what I do is so easy compared to the things that you guys do. Like sitting here with like all this, like with the embroidery machines, appliques, all that stuff. That looks so like complex and complicated. Like, I don't know how you guys do it. But this is a cakewalk. I'm not doing anything. I'm pressing the button on a drill. All right, so I just literally tied it in now. What I like to do is get my loose ends and make sure I put them into the middle. Where you would have a lot of drop stitches is when you're adding in yarns. One, you want to make sure that the old yarn is underneath the hook here. I even sometimes end up pushing this underneath, like the yarn that was on here, I push it underneath. And that just this is on the inside. It makes the project look cleaner and you don't have to worry about going back and putting in any loose ends. And again, just making sure that the stitch is getting picked or the yarn is getting picked. Okay. You see here, it's not on the hook. I don't know if you guys can tell. It's off the hook. It's over here. It's not touching it. If I wasn't careful and if I just kept talking to you guys, all of this would have had to get redone. I would have dropped a stitch. There are ways you can kind of pick up a stitch again on here, but for me, it's a pain. I would just rather start over. So I'm going to be careful, put it underneath. Like, so the yarn kind of shifted here. So I'm going to make sure that it locks in. I don't know if you guys heard the click. It clicks. I'm pulling it through so that it stays underneath and that the teeth can pick up the yarn. Okay. So I put the yarn underneath the white tooth or hook. Now I'm going to make sure that the next one grabs it, and it did. Okay. Now I know that my other hooks are picking up my yarn. I can use my drill. Hey, Maria. Hearing Addi. I was on Adderall for like a short period, and when I tell you I was a zombie, it'd be like 4 o'clock in the morning and I was just up buzzing. Like, you hear how like awake I am now? I'm exhausted. Imagine me on Adderall. It's a scary time, y'all. Scary time. I feel like I keep pushing it this way because I'm on the drill. And I'm trying to keep it like centered for you guys. And again, I'm stopping at my black hook. And for the ending, I can go around my hand 3 times instead of 6. My scissors are here somewhere. It's funny because when we're crocheting and we put our hooks down, we lose them. I'm not even crocheting and I'm constantly losing something. I'm either losing my scissors or my tensioner because I put it down. As soon as I put it down, it's a wrap. Again, I'm looping it on that same first hook. I could have just left it here. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I'm putting it here on this hook. And now I'm going to grab the scrap yarn that I already have used. Okay, it's already done. And that way you'll see what happens once I run out of scrap. And because this is scrap, I don't particularly care too much about the tension. It doesn't have to be consistent tension. There still has to be tension, but just not consistent tension. So I'm just going to hold it with my hand loosely. Again, I'm going slow at first to make sure that that tooth grabs, or the needle grabs both, and that the others do so as well. Once I see it's done so, excuse me, crank it up. I'm running out of yarn. As soon as I run out of yarn, the stitches are going to start falling off. That's it. Now I can add this to my pile. Again, I'm going to start with my white. I think I'm going to do one more pink and then switch colors because that will have me at 5 skeins of pink. Excuse me. I have a market. I have one main market outside at the skating rink, like the ice skating rink, on Saturday. I don't know how many people will go. My last event was very eventful, thankfully. But then I know the borough is going to have an event Friday and Saturday. So if I have a lot of people that go there, I want to make sure that I have enough supplies for both markets and not have to sit here Friday night being asleep in the craft room, right? So I'm going to try and get as much done as possible. Ideally, I'd like to get 10, but I don't want to get stuck only having pink. So I'm going to switch it out. I'm going to try and get 5 of every color that I know I don't have, and then switch back once I have the opportunity to. And that's how I work on my inventory. I also know I'm very low on my kids' headbands, but with my smaller addi, the row counter has stopped working. I don't know. It's like the mechanism is messed up. I'm contemplating buying another one, but I know I shouldn't. Like, I can't. I just bought that this year. Or I bought it last season, and it got messed up. But I'm going to try and tough it out. There's a hack that I did to it. I added one of the digital or like magnetic row counters, and I can show you guys that in another video because it's a little far as away and I don't feel like getting up to go get it, but excuse me. I'll show you the hack that I have for that, but let's keep working on some headbands. Just looking for the start to this. I don't know where the start of my yarn is. Let's see. I found her. Okay. But of course, she's noted. So one second, y'all. 1 second. What is happening? Like, what is life right now? Was that it? I feel like that wasn't it. Yeah, that's not it. Okay. There we go. Now I found the true. I'm like, what is happening? That was the outside skein. Okay. Ooh. All the things. Okay. Now that I'm done fighting with yarn, per usual, I'm going to go back to my black needle. Technically, you do not need to start on here. Just force of habit. I do so anyways. So again, I'm just leaving a little bit of tail. And this is more so for when I go to reuse the yarn later. Not more so for now. And that's honestly not much of a tail either. But that's why I end up playing chicken so many times and I end up losing. And then you're literally just going every other hook. There's hair on here. I can feel it in my hands. Fiber artists. It'd be real, y'all. This is addictive, guys. That's the best part. Honestly, it is. Oh no, the skating ring. Sorry, my voice. I don't know what's going on right now. Honestly, my last market of this year is on the 31st. Like, I have a market the day of, like, the ball drop. Because I have a market every Saturday. So at the skating rink, there's like it kind of reminds me of Bryant Park in New York. Here at one of the amphitheaters, we have a skating rink that's like, I guess, like seasonal for the winter time. And every Saturday there's a market at said skating rink. So every Saturday from now until like January something, like mid-January, I'm going to be there. So I'm going to keep working even after Christmas. I think my last one is in mid-January, and then I have the store. So I haven't had a break, and I don't know when I'm going to have another break again, which is why I'm trying to like be very efficient and effective with my time, because on top of this stuff that I know sells well, thankfully my vinyl stuff has picked up again. Or not again, has just picked up. Like, I'm getting orders, like people are ordering sweaters from me, people are ordering vinyl things, they want sublimation. I have a boatload of things I need to sublimate for my coworker. I have a boatload of like vinyl projects. I know some of you guys have seen my mommy sweaters. I had a client reach out to me on Etsy and asked for sweatpants, like matching sweatpants. So not only did they order the sweater, they also wanted pants. So I had to order some like blanks last minute, which was okay. But I took advantage and ordered a couple other things that I knew I needed stock of. So I ordered some of those, and yeah, like I have to make that and ship it out by as soon, like I think I get the blank. So today's Tuesday. I think I get it Thursday. Friday night, like Friday morning, I'm going to try and get it out. Like I'm going to do it the same day I get it type thing. So like I'm all over the place, which is why it's like while it's early on in the week, I know I'm not going to have time to really use my knitting machine. So if I get all my panels done now, I can literally be sitting at the store at the Borough. Thursday, we have a party. There's an event Thursday night. Friday, we have markets. So I'm not really going to be home to be using my knitting machine. So I need to get all these panels cranked out today and tomorrow so that I can just be chilling at the store, like working, but relaxed. Like I can be crocheting, which is calming. Crocheting and sewing the panels. But I need to get her done. And I'm only cranking so that I can read your guys' message, by the way, because I would normally not be cranking. Honestly, Sandy, if you have a lot to work on, like if you have a lot of scrunchies to work on, I think you should do what I'm doing now as well. Get all your panels done. because then you can just crochet it all at one time. So instead of putting the machine down, putting it away, you know, just be very repetitive. I feel like it's very time efficient if you do all your panels at one point, like especially if you're doing like mass amounts. Depending on how many you're making, if you're doing like 5 or 6, get all your panels out of the way and then crochet. You can work on your closing stitches, your closures, all that stuff later on, because I know you're still new, you're playing around with it. You might be trying different closing stitches or just different techniques in general, but the panels are going to be the same. Like, obviously, if you've already done 1 or 2, you know, okay, is 20 enough? Do you want more? Do you want less? If you've already gotten more or less like your pattern down, the number of rows that you want, like the tension that you want, I say just crank out the panels. I don't knit clothing. Clothing would have to be on the there's another setting on the machine here, this little red hook switches up and down for I think it's panels and tubes and panels. I don't remember. There's a T and a P. I don't remember which is which. I just use the circular. Like I knit in the round. I don't knit like back and forth. So no, I don't knit clothes. But I've seen a couple patterns here and there. I'm too anal and I don't like the way some of the clothes looks. Unless it's very clean and A-line, like I don't care for it. Like I know a lot of people use like the marbled pattern or like the colored dye pattern, and you play around with like the different thing. I don't know. I'm not that it's ugly, but for me it's not what I like. It's not my preferred, and I'm very, I don't know what the word is, but I don't like the way it looks with this. I may try and play around with some patterns and try and get some like sweaters and stuff done, but for now I haven't really seen anything that I like that's one, neat and easily repeatable. I want something that I can make multiple of and it look the same. I want your sweater to look exactly like her sweater, with a like difference in regards to like sizing and stuff, but like all my headbands, generally they look identical, and that's what I want. I want it to look very professional, very clean, very like to the T. I'm super anal when it comes to stuff like that. Oh, you gotta be careful, Liz. I'm making headbands now, Maria. It is new language. And I mean, honestly, I don't know all the proper like knitting terms either, so I'm probably not the best, but I love my machine. And I don't know what it is. Like when you're on live, it's like the words just like elude you. So you see, beside me fighting the yarn, you see how I'm coming up on, whoops, sorry y'all. You see how I'm coming up, let me hold it down with my foots. You see this little tail here? This is how I know I'm coming up to my black needle, because I left the tail out, right? That's just practice. You'll realize, you'll catch little things like that over time. But let's say I was using one of the waist yarns that I had before and I didn't have all this extra yarn to play with. Hold on, because you guys can't really see what I'm doing. Let's say I didn't have all this kind of like yarn to play with right now. If I left a really short tail, I'd have to be very mindful to make sure I get on this. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I hope that makes sense. Again, I'm not the best when it comes to tutorials just yet. Oh, you're using the same waist yarn. Yeah, that's fair. It's not lazy, honestly. It's very cost effective. Like I said, like this is all free yarn. Like this is yarn that my mom has had or I've been given over time that I know I'm not going to use. Because again, like I think this is Red Heart. I'm not going to really be using Red Heart on my projects. Where's my skein? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is my last pink. And then we're going to switch. 1, 2, 3. Now that I'm switching, I'm going to reset my row counter. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try and like keep you guys centered. Oh God. Yeah, exactly, Maria. There goes security. Come, babe, because I know you're trying to figure out how to get on the couch. Súbete. Come on. Sube. Súbete, niña. Ooh, it's okay. You made it. Good girl. Okay. It's okay. Come on, okay? Come on. Part of the reason why I'm also kind of like holding the yarn is to make sure that there aren't knots. If there's a knot like this, it can break your tensioner. I don't know. I don't think Mary's on here. I think this was cut out with a laser. Mary, I'm gonna need you to get on this, Mary. I'm gonna need some more of these, please. Please. Anyone with laser. This I think I got through Sylvia bot. This is like her little logo thing. Let me know if you guys have seen her before. I'll try to like tag her down below. Good night, Naomi. Thank you guys for keeping me company. I really appreciate it because honestly, like, this would be so mundane. Extremely mundane. And then again, I just tend to ball them up like this when I take them off of the skein. And it's in this little baggie too, because if I'm at the borough working, I'll end up just putting it in one of my bags instead of having the bin, because it's just easier for me to like walk around with. So again, I'm just taking this off. Excuse me. Okay. All right, so that's 5. Ouch. I have this much left of the skein. I'm normally able to get like 2, 2.5, possibly even like close to 3 with one skein. So I'll put this aside. I know I can probably get maybe 1 or 2 more. I may make coffee cozies with these on the smaller addi, if not the kids ones, because this is one of my kid sizes. But again, with my smaller knitting machine acting up right now, we'll see. My main priority is adult headbands because, one, they are more popular and they are higher price point too. Granted, it's like $5 difference, but still, I have more adult shoppers than I have children shoppers. So let's see. I'm trying to remember inventory. Let me check my iPad real quick. I have it in my notes. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so I had. Oh, this is not updated. Come on now. I need you to update, please. How do I update this? Help! I updated this week. Why are you being difficult? Is it like the Wi-Fi? Is that a thing? What's happening? Z, if you're still here, you'll be happy to know that I finally bought Procreate. I've had the tablet for a while and I have yet to buy Procreate. I finally bought it today. I think I bought like tutorials or like the brushes and stuff that we talked about, the stencils, and I haven't even brought the program yet because I'm crazy like that. I'm trying to pull up my inventory, guys. Please bear with me. I'm trying to make sure what I need to work on, but it's not letting me. I think I needed mustard, so let's pull out mustard. Or at least what I call mustard. Okay. feel like I needed green. No, I just did a boatload of green. I may need a few more green. I think I need gray. Gray might be next after this. I'm trying to remember what my store looks like right now. Pink. I definitely need pink. I think I had a few tans. I have maybe one mustard, if that even. Let's see. I definitely will. I'll put it on the community page, see. I probably honestly won't really get to play with it until after like Christmas, and that's okay. I want to start working on like some Valentine's designs and stuff like that, so that's when I'll probably get to working on like really playing with it and getting things done. So we'll see. Try and get some things going. I find one thing to lose another. Oh, here it is. I was like, where did my white go? Yes, it's going to be very repetitive, Liz. So you're not missing anything, I promise. Honestly, Z, sometimes this is the best time for me. Like, I don't know if you guys may have missed it because you came in a little later. When I got home from work, I was like, oh yeah, I was super tired. I had to go pick up my sister from her activity, and I was like, oh, you know, like I'm gonna take a quick nap. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take a quick nap. I'm gonna crank so I can talk to you guys. I was like, I'm gonna take a quick nap, so you know, like I can get up and be more refreshed and get more work done. But I don't know what it was, but literally, like when I got home, I had this random burst of energy. When I tell you, I was in my office like not nodding off, but just like so tired. I had to like put music on in the background just to kind of like stay awake, and just I couldn't focus on almost anything like that last hour of work. But I went to go pick up my sister, and I got home and I was like, you know what, I want to clean. I was a little sad, so when I went to go pick her up, I generally ask her, you know, like, do you want to come to the house with me and like work with me or kind of like hang out, or do you want me to take you straight home, because we don't live together, like I live by myself. So today I told her, I was like, oh, you know, I'm going to be cleaning, you know, would you mind helping me, whatever. And she's like, yeah, no. And I was like, please, really, for real? She's like, yeah, no, I don't want to. And I was like, okay, like, I get it. Like, you know, it's Shark Week for her. It's fairly new, you know, whatever's not. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to like force her to do anything she doesn't want. Like, it's literally voluntarily. So I was like, okay. So I took her home. So I was feeling a little like dejected about that. But I was like, oh, but I still really wanted to clean. I wanted to get stuff done. I was like, oh no, like it is what it is. I'm going to just do it. Like, I just had the kind of like, you can do it yourself type attitude, not like in a bad way, but like it motivated me, like, you know, like you got this kind of thing. So I came home, I started with my kitchen, because as soon as you walk in the door, my kitchen is right there. I have like a peninsula, and that was a hot mess express. I had boxes on there, I had just like random clothes, I had sweaters. Like when she was here the other night, or yesterday night actually, there wasn't even a place for her to sit to eat dinner last night. Like we both ate dinner standing up because there was no counter space. So that's sad, but it got remedied today. So I did that. The living room swept, mopped, vacuumed, like the little area rug and stuff that I have. Then I came upstairs. I switched some things around between the craft room and my room, kind of organized that, cleaned the bathrooms, put in another load, which you may hear kind of like rotating every once in a while now. put away clothes that I already had cleaned and sorted through. It feels so nice. Like, I swept, I cleaned the stairs. Just I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. But I was exhausted, and mad stuff got done today in a matter of like 2 hours because I was speed cleaning. Because I told myself, I was like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I told myself, I was like, you know what? We're gonna clean a little bit. We'll go live. You know, maybe hang out with a friend, like talk to you guys or whatever's not. But like, get her done. You know, like if I clean a little bit first, then I can do this, kind of like reward myself. You know, by like talking to you guys or going live. And then, you know, as soon as I finished, or like I had, so after I cleaned and everything, I made myself a little dinner, and I was kind of just like sitting on the island, like I kind of got stuck scrolling, and I was like, let me see what's happening on Discord. And then I saw Sarah's post, and I was like, okay, you know, like this is the time, like get to work. And then I had a few little technical difficulties. I was trying to share like my iPad screen with you guys, but that didn't work because I need to be on the computer. But that's okay. We're making it work, and I'm getting my panels done, which is what I really need to be doing now anyways. So it all works out. It all works out. Oh, I'm sorry. You can't sleep, Z. Yeah, for sure. Definitely does. When I had my first apartment, I used to watch a lot of like cleaning videos to kind of just like motivate myself to clean. And a lot of the women also are like mothers, so like they tend to clean, like they'll have like late night cleanings because their kids are asleep and they can actually get things done because the kids aren't like not in the way, but like aren't interrupting them. I think that's pretty cool. My security guard is next to me sleeping. She came up and she's already asleep. Good night, Maria. So my machine keeps catching. I need to probably clean it, but again, that's just not going to happen right now. I may just add some oil to it, and I'll show you guys how I do that right now as well. Just because, again, it probably needs to get clean, but I don't have the mental capacity for that right now. That'll have to get done maybe on Sunday. So I'm gonna need you, baby, to just give me a few more days, please. I need like at least another like 20 or 30 headbands from you, babe. Just bear with me, please. You heard that pop? That's where it's catching. Not that was a click, but there's a pop. There it was. You're gonna hear a click and then a pop. What kind of clothing are you using for the scrunchies, Sandy? Because there's a lot of different kinds. There's one I know that's like straight hooks. Let me take this off and then I'll show you. My preferred is a legit slip stitch across. But depending on the project, you need like actual like stitches. But there are a few that, so with the slip stitch, you're using more yarn. There's some that don't require any yarn really, that you can just use the hooks or the stitches that are there. Do I even have a crochet hook disposable? Surprisingly, no. Where's my craft pouch? Daisy, where's my pouch? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you with my book. It fell on its own. Oh, there's my mom's pouches here. Okay. Let's see what she has in here. This will do. This is a little big, but I have a smaller one in here. Alright, it's fine. So this isn't the actual hook size that I need, but it might be better because it's bigger. Let me go on the white side so you can see a little better too. Can you guys see? I feel like it's better on the white. Let's switch over. So one very popular clothing that I've seen specifically on YouTube is this one here, and I personally do not like it. So one, you have to kind of start, this is where I started, so you kind of have to try and gauge where it is, like where to start on this end. You want it to be kind of like on the opposite side. One, again, I'm super anal. I would sit here and count every single one, which I'm not going to do because I'm just going to do it really quickly to show you guys. But I don't care for that. Again, I want everything to be very streamlined, very similar. So the first one would be picking up a stitch, picking up the opposite stitch, pulling it through, picking up a stitch, pulling it through. And like, just see, I've already messed up, which is why I don't like doing this method. So I'm going to start over. I'm just picking up a stitch, picking up one stitch here and pulling it through, grabbing one from the opposite side, pulling it through again. So I'm going up and down, and just pulling through. That's one of the more popular ones that I've seen. I understand why it is, because you're not using any extra yarn, but as you're going, because you're pulling up the stitches, one, I know this needle is a lot bigger, but look how small this stitch is compared to the others. I've pulled that stitch, so now I need to try and like finesse this big old hoop through this tiny stitch that I've just like made smaller. Again, same thing here. Yeah, I don't like this. I can't stand this in the slightest. Detest it. Do not recommend. I don't like it. The stitch that I do is just a simple slip stitch. Yes, it will use more yarn, but it is so much faster. I'm not sitting here fighting with hoops or like the loops or whatever's not. So here you can see, distinctively see where your start and end is. You have one higher than the other, and both of your yarns, both of your ends are pulling up from the same stitch. That's why I like to have it on that same hoop. This is, you can't mess this up. I'm going into the lower side. I'm going into the higher side. I have two loops, two hooks, or the words. I have 2 stitches on my hook. I'm going to move the scrap yarn out of my way. So I'm going to push it down. I'm grabbing, this is now going to be my working yarn. My tail is my working yarn. Pulling, I looped it through. I looped it, pulling through both again. Now I have top and bottom. So I'm sandwiching my seam now. Okay. Going through the bottom, going through the top. Loop, pull through. I have 2 hooks or 2 hoops on my loop. Good God. I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to finish the slip stitch. Okay, that is a slip stitch right here. This little V, that's a slip stitch. I don't know if you guys can see that. I have to wait for the little, I have to wait for the lagging. Okay, again, bottom, top, 2 stitches. This is the one I just used. Ignore this one for now. We're gonna loop through, loop, pull through. I'm gonna pull through that last stitch and make my slip stitch. Okay, I'm picking up my stitches. So bottom, top, pulling my working yarn, I'm pulling it through. Now I have my 2 stitches and I complete my slip stitch. This is so much faster than whatever it was that I was trying to do. Granted, I am doing this faster because I'm used to it, but still, like, look at this. Like, why is this so much faster? Loop, pull through. Granted, again, I am using more yarn, but my stitches, my existing stitches aren't changing in shape. It's not getting any smaller because I'm not pulling it. I'm not using it to complete my stitch. Granted, again, there are some of the looks, some of the finishes do look different compared to the other, but because of the seam that I use for my headbands, you're not going to see my stitch. So even though I am wasting more yarn, it doesn't matter. I'd rather do this and go 1,000 times faster than sit here and try to nitpick at stitches and then have my headband loops, like loopy, like lopsided, because I didn't start exactly where I needed to start. Excuse me. I didn't start exactly where I needed to start on this end, but I know where to start exactly on this end with this method. So this is honestly my preferred method. I don't have time for the other method. Don't care for it. Do not recommend. Do not care for it. I'd rather spend on like 3 hand wraps of yarn, or however many inches that is, and save so much time. Like, look at how easy this is. Again, my loops are very visible because I'm using contrasting yarn, contrasting color to my yarn between my scrap yarn and my actual like primary color, right? Again, even with this hook being bigger and me pulling on the hooks, on the stitches slightly, it's still easier to pull it. I'm not having any difficulties like I was earlier. I'm not sitting here having to use my thumb or my nails to pick up a stitch. just gliding through this. Like here now at the end. Yes, that's understandable. I'm literally at the end. So I'm coming in here, just picking up the loop with my nail. Okay, coming back over here. And this is another way you can hold the crochet hook as well. So you can hold it like a fork, or you can hold it like this as well. There's different ways you can hold it. Or well, this is a pen, the pen way. Some people call this the fork way. I don't particularly know. But this is another way to hold it. And that's it. With the last loop, you're going to pull your working yarn through, and that's it. Now, with this extra length here, this is what I use to sew. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and remove my waste yarn. With this being the more difficult end to pull out, I'm going to pull on my tail to find that that string that's kind of moving with it. So I don't know if you guys can see it moving. This is the skein. This is the what I need to pull out. So I'm pulling this out. Once I pull it out around the entire perimeter, it'll be easier to pull. Or it'll come off easily on its own. I hope that makes sense. I never know what words, adjectives, nouns, pronouns, whatever the things are called. I don't know what to use. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Wrap it up. So I can go ahead and reuse it. Okay. For my coffee cozies, because I do want it to have extra stretch, instead of doing the slip stitch, because again, this is a fairly tight stitch, right? When it comes to crochet, there is not much give in this closure. With my coffee cozies, because I do want it to expand and kind of contrast with the knit, I do a single crochet around the two edges. And I can show you guys that again in another video if you care. You could also do a single crochet as the closure instead of the slip stitch. There's many closures you can use. Whatever is easier for you is what's best for you. I'm very adamant about working smarter, not harder. I'm just going to do that one side so that you can see Sandy. No, I'll keep working on this so that you can see me do one entirely, so that you'll get motivated to work on a headband next. These colors aren't as contrasting, but they are still different. So it's still easier for me to tell, just not as easy. Okay. And now, because of the way the yarn is, it's kind of facing down. I'm not going to mess with what the yarn is trying to do. I'm going to leave this scrap or this piece down inside, because again, we're going to take it out anyways, right? And even here, you still have top, bottom. Okay. I'm going to move my working yarn out because I need it to work. I'm going to grab this bottom piece here, which is my bottom row. Bottom is always first. Bottom's first, top second. Okay. And then because I have both my working yarn and my scrap yarn on that same hook, I have two pieces. So just be mindful not to grab that piece. Okay. If you do, it's not the end of the world, but just try not to. It'll make it easier when you're removing the waste yarn. Again, this is now my working yarn. I'm going to go ahead, loop through, and that's my first stitch. Okay. Sandwich everything together. Bottom, bottom, top, pull through, slip stitch. Bottom, top, pull through, slip stitch. That's it. All the way across, nice and easy. Tension is fairly loose, not anything too tight. I could make it tighter if I wanted. I'm gonna sew it up, so it doesn't really matter. Just whatever is easier for you. just make sure that if you are going to use this method, Sandy, on the next scrunchie, you leave yourself yarn to work with. I don't know how far around you're going on the scrunchies, but I would do at least 2. Make sure the tail goes around the addy at least twice, just to make sure you have enough. Kind of like when you're casting on in regular knitting. You always want to make sure you have a long enough tail. At least on one of the sides, like whether at the beginning or the end, you want to make sure you have enough, like kind of like working yarn. And then I'm sure you've saw tutorials. You want to make sure you grab every single stitch. If you miss a stitch, it's gonna unravel, or you're gonna, like, it's basically a dropped stitch. Now, again, one of the pros of using this method is that everything is even. The addy has what, 46 needles. I know I have an even number of stitches. If I get to the end and I have only one, I know I dropped a stitch. I missed a stitch. There should never be a reason why I don't have enough or an even number here, because I have an even number of stitches. Unless I know for whatever reason at the very beginning I dropped a stitch and I don't have it here, which is extremely rare and generally I would not do, I will always have even number here. If I get to the end and I just see just the one stitch, I missed one and I need to go back. With that first method that I showed you guys, you're going up and down, up and down. When you get to the end, and if you start it like kind of off the center, you'll have your working yarn kind of like hanging, and then you may need to kind of just like keep going, so you don't know where your top and your bottom is. Like, it's not going to be exact every time. I don't got time for that. I don't want to sit here playing a guessing game so that when I go to unravel my scrap yarn, I have a piece missing. Granted, there are ways around it, but still, I'd rather not. Again, work smarter, not harder. Again, see, even 1 2 1 2. My last 2, always even. If I had literally just one, I know I dropped a stitch somewhere. I missed it. And the great thing about crochet, if I missed a stitch, just frog it. It's not the end of the world. I don't have to start over. I don't have to worry about picking up stitches. Nope, just go back. And you'll find it. You'll see it for sure. Because you saw when I undid those, the loops kind of got a little bit bigger because they've been pulled on. You'll see compared to the others where you missed it. And sometimes it's generally at the very beginning. And then again, because I just know out of practice, this is a little bit that I have left. And that's normally it. Exactly, Sarah. This yarn, this waste yarn, is basically just holding your stitches in place for you to go ahead and close them. And that's why it's very important that you use contrasting yarn to your primary color so that it's easier to spot. You saw how much faster I went with the white because I could see it pops out to me, which is why I prefer either really bright or vibrant colors for my scrap, because my color scheme for my business is very neutral, monochromatic colors. Not neutral, but like pastel-y, soft monochromatic, whereas like my scraps tends to be very bright and loud because it bounces off easier. This pink is a pink that I just had myself for a while that I'm trying to get not rid of, but I needed to use. So that's the only reason why I'm using this here. But I'm just trying to, again, work my stash. If I were to ever buy yarn, because again, this is still just yarn that I've had laying around. If I were to ever buy yarn, I will get like the most obnoxiously bright color ever, because I know it's never going to clash with my color scheme. Yeah, it's quick. It's a quick workup, Sandy. And then watch me sew it up, and that's it. Like, this headband is done. I just have to sew it up. I don't even know if I have a needle. Again, I just wrapped this up. This is a closer that I use. I think it's called the Rose. I don't know, y'all. Y'all know I don't know terms. So again, because I'm very anal. Your girl got problems, okay? I'm very particular about how I do this. I've done this already for 2 years now. My process is very streamlined. I do 6 wraps around my hand at the beginning, 3 at the end. What does that mean? This is my starting chain. This is where I started. This is where I have my extra yarn. Okay? This is my end. I have enough here that I'm not wasting extra yarn. So I'm being cost effective and efficient with the yarn that I have. I know this is going to be enough to sew my seam. But that also tells me that with this one, because it's the beginning one, I know this is the harder scrap yarn to get rid of, just out of practice and acknowledgement, observation, right? So what I do is, because of this stitch, I make sure this is always the way I see it. My yarn is getting stuck on my hook. This is always the way I do it. This side is my left side. This is my right side. I start with my left as the outside part of my sandwich. I call it a sandwich because that's how the person who taught me in my YouTube tutorial taught me, I think, even though it's called the Rose, whatever. This is the inside of my sandwich, the meat. It's going inside. So I have outside, inside. The other half of it is going to be on the inside. And then this is the last little slice of bread. Okay, this is my little sandwich. The piece of yarn that I'm going to be using to sew it up is on the right side. I do this intentionally so that I can literally sew through, back and forth. Once it's sewn up, I don't have a needle to go ahead and do so. So I'm just going to hold it with my hand. My seam, this is what my seam looks like. This is the twist headband. This is how all my headbands look. The twist is the same exact way on every single one of my headbands. If you were to have done the inside outside part differently, one twist will be this way, another one. So the outer, this top twist, this little top knot here, instead of being on the top left, would be on the bottom left. When I tell you your girl is anal, I am extremely anal. When I realized, when I was just doing it randomly, quickly, like when I was just working up panels, I had some on the top left and then some on the bottom left. I couldn't. It just irked me. It didn't look the same. It didn't look even. It didn't look neat. It didn't look professional to me. So I'm very particular about how I do everything for this reason, so that all my headbands, all of them, look exactly this way. The one I have on my head, let's see. This knot, top left, not bottom left. Very particular. Obviously this has been used. It's a little fuzzy. It's been washed. If it ever gets too bad, I just know to get a little like sweater thing and I'm good to go. My headbands or my tags always go on this side here, and the lettering, the wording goes exactly this way. All of them. Honestly, it works up so quick, Sarah. I didn't mind it because if I was doing what Sandy is doing right now, that would have irked me because I honestly do not like that closure. It frustrates me so much because the way you have to hold the hook back and forth, or I don't know if I'm just picking them up wrong. I don't care for it. Yeah, it's bad. I really do like consistency. I don't remember if you guys saw, this is a while back, but I was at the borough at one of the markets. This was before I even like moved in officially. I think I was actually waiting for my room. This one girl was there and she was like, "Oh, you hand make all of this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do everything myself." She's like, "Oh, but it looks so professional." It was the but for me. What do you mean, but it looks so professional? Like, can I not make it look professional? Like, I'm confused. That's the aim. Like, I have a business. I want it to look professionally made. Like, I want my things to be nice. Like, I'm not trying to like harp on anyone whose stuff isn't like perfect, but I would ideally like to have perfection. I want it to be as close to identical as possible. I mean, I am using a knitting machine. I might as well. Like, I understand if I was like hand crocheting everything, like, yeah, your consistency, your tension is not going to be the same for every piece. But if I'm using a knitting machine and I have a tensioner, why wouldn't it? Night, Sarah. Thank you for keeping me company. You have to post your nails. Well, not you have to, but you should post your nails on Discord so we can see how pretty they came out. And like even this, like the closed up tubes like this too, sometimes I'll even take these to markets and just sew them up real quick. Like if I see I'm running out of this particular color, I'll just sew it up and put my tag on it. And that's it. So I generally try to have things like half made or like at least definitely the tubes done. So that at markets, if I'm not, again, making money, I'm making product. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll probably make one or two more tubes. Excuse me. And then head off. We are politely using the free version of StreamYard. So I don't know how many hours I have left for the month. I guess. But like for me, especially like having a business, like I don't know. And again, like I'm not harping on anyone who does things handmade and it's not like consistent. It's just I would prefer for it to be, you know? Because then like that's why I charge what I charge for my prices. And then people still have the audacity to tell me my prices are too high when honestly I feel like they're fairly low. Like I could be charging a lot more for what I'm offering, for what I'm giving. I think my prices are very fair. Fighting yarn, y'all. Fighting yarn. Story of my life. Night, Liz. Stay safe out there. Oh, I was definitely supposed to grease this and I forgot. Okay, yeah, this is probably gonna be my last one. I'm gonna call it a night too, guys. I need to I'll show you how I put the oil on it, but I'll probably let it sit overnight so it can saturate. Because again, with me not cleaning it, it needs to kind of like really get into the gears. I've lost my yarn. God forbid I move anything from my direct line of sight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoops. I'm so sorry, y'all. This is gonna be a loud one. Okay, so my Joe just died, but because your girl be prepared, we gotta have another one. Fully charged, I think. So 1, 2, 3. So clearly that happened to me far too often when I first started out, and I would get frustrated. So before I ended up getting, I had a drill just for my house in general, but I ended up getting 2 like backup or spare ones. I think I bought these off Amazon. I'll see if I can get the link for them. They were fairly inexpensive. This was the original one that it came with, which was a 1.5. I ended up getting a higher one, and if I'm not mistaken, or yeah, a higher one. It's the same voltage, so I think it gives you the same amount of power. I don't remember physics. I think this gives you the length of time you can use it. So I got a higher one or a bigger one so that it could last me longer. So the one that I got was a pack of 2 of these, and it matches my drill exactly. I'll see if I can find my drill and the battery. And I'll also try and get the link for the adapter that I use as well. I've been using the same person for both years of my business, and every time I get 2 of the same one. Yeah, I go quick, Sandra. I don't know when you stepped out, but I got, let me see. I got two pink headbands, a mustard. We closed it up, and this is my second mustard. I also want to show you my skein. We opened this skein of yarn together for these headbands. This is what's left after 2. I can probably get half of a third one with this. Or what I like to do is sometimes keep it aside and use it for the baby headbands. Like this is one of the baby headbands and the coffee cozy colors that I use to take to markets. So I just put it aside to kind of work on that for when I get the smaller addi out. But what I would do is, before I ended up getting the additional battery packs, while I would put the battery to charge, either I would hand crank if I was really desperate, or what I realized, what I started doing was, if I had enough panels already started, I would just start closing panels. Once I finished closing all my panels, then the drill had at least enough charge for me to get a couple more panels out, and then I would kind of like alternate that way as well. I'm gonna reuse the same pink I just took off not too long ago. Well, no, I keep hitting you guys, I'm sorry. Let me use this yellow. It's more vibrant against this. I like it better. And I'm going to show you guys how I oil it, because I do need to oil it up. And then I think I'm going to go to bed as well. Right now it's 12 for me, and I need to be up at like 7-ish. So 6-ish really, but 6, 7, the latest. Okay, come on. Oh, see? That was too small. Or it was broken. Let's see how long this is. We'll see. This is going to be cutting it close. So I dropped a few stitches here. Like from here to here. There's going to be like 2 or 3 that may get loose, but that's okay. It doesn't always mess up your drill. I mean, if you go too fast, it can. I feel like for my smaller one, it possibly did, just because of the counting mechanism. But there's ways around it. Like there's hacks and stuff. And honestly, with the amount of stuff that I get done faster, I'd rather use it even if it did. Just because it's more effective for me. With my smaller addi, the row counter doesn't work. Sorry, I feel like I just got fibers up my nose. With my smaller addi, the row counter doesn't work because I feel like the counter, there's like friction or there's something. Whenever it clicks, when it clicks, it doesn't update the numbers. It doesn't work. If you go too fast, it will not count it, and you can have drop stitches. Right now, my drill is on a 5, and I only do it like maybe halfway. I don't go all the way. I'm not at full power. I'm like maybe halfway. It depends. I've seen people go a hell of a lot faster than I go, and their machines are perfectly fine. I personally would rather not go faster. I don't want drop stitches. I'm okay with the speed that I'm going now. I can get one done in 5 minutes. But you may have missed it, Sandra. My machine is catching on something. I need to oil it. Quite frankly, I need to clean it and oil it. But I can't right now. And I'm praying that she lasts me until Sunday when I'll take her apart, clean her up, get all these fibers out. I feel like that's why I'm coughing, because I'm taking in the fibers. I'll take her apart, I'll clean her, give her a nice cleaning, get all these extra fibers off of her and stuff like that. But for right now, I'm just going to oil her up. I'm going to show you guys how I do that in between cleanings. I'm probably just going to let her sit overnight. So let me grab that really quickly. It's within arm's reach, of course, because we're lazy and everything is always close. Let's see. Okay. So, this is the oil that I have. I got this at Home Depot. Nothing fancy. This is the one. Someone I saw a couple videos in regards to cleaning, how to clean, stuff like that. This I got when I was even using the Sentro, because I tried to take care of my machine. Even though if it was a cheaper version, I still wanted to learn, take care of it, and do things the correct way. I saw a couple people talking about like lubricants and oils in general. I definitely needed a silicone one, because if I'm not mistaken, the teeth or the needles are silicone. So I wanted that for sure. And then I don't remember if I got the food safe one or not. I was trying to find the food safe one. I don't think this one is. But yeah, for plastic, metal, wood, rubber, vinyl surfaces. Yeah, this is it. So we're going to give her a good shake. The puppy's up because she didn't hear the machine. She's like, what's happening? There's a change in the environment. So I'm just shaking it. And what I'm going to do is I tend to sometimes, I want to get the oil to go in between the teeth so that it lubricates the ring on the inside. You can spray around. I'm lazy, so I end up spraying while I crank, and I'll show you guys how I do that in a second. So let's see. Just make sure I get a stream going. Okay. Okay. So now I know it's inside everything. So I'm kind of just like running it a little bit slowly, letting it kind of seep through. You guys don't hear it catching like it was, right? That was just the click, the row click. That's where it was catching. It's not catching like it was. I'm going to add a little more. I'm not going to use it right now. If I were to have used it, I would definitely get a paper towel and clean the outside and the teeth as best as I can. Again, I am using waste yarn, so it wouldn't particularly get on my yarn, like my finished yarn. It would get on the waste yarn. But I'm going to just let it sit overnight so that it's not as like wet right now. And I'm just honestly tired. I'm just going to try and get a little more, maybe put some over here. Yeah. Oh, butter. Or oil, technically. Okay, so this is random paper towel that I have here. I'm just gonna kind of clean the outside a little bit. As you can see, there's oil all on my chair, all in here. So I just kind of clean this up a little bit to, again, not have it get onto things. I probably did over oil it, but because I'm not cleaning it, I know there are a lot of fibers in here. So I just basically grease the gears and the fibers to kind of get it going again. I definitely needed it to get greased up so that I wouldn't be clicking like that. It'd be running smoother, and to prevent that catching. If it gets caught, sometimes it's the needles getting caught onto something either on the inside or on the outside, like either the yarn outside or something on the inside that we can't see. And if you keep cranking with it being so stiff or so dry, you can break a needle, which is why I'm kind of like concerned. And I know I probably should, like I am abusing my machine right now and I am admitting it, but we gonna have to wait. If I lose a needle, I lose a needle. I understand the repercussions of that. I still have a fair amount of extra teeth, so I'm okay with that. Excuse me, with my baby Addi, because it's constantly it is stuck a little bit and it doesn't do the row count. I know I have a lot more issues with that machine. My 3 black needles, I haven't broken a needle on this one yet, you know, knock on whatever, but I've broken like 2 or 3 needles on the smaller Addi. And these 3 here, the middle one is a white needle because I ran out of black needles to replace it. I think you only get like 1 or 2, and ironically I've broken 2 black needles amongst other needles. So yeah, it's a lot quieter now. I'm just gonna let it sit. There's like oil seeping through even like the legs now because I oversaturated it, but that's okay. That's literally what I wanted to do. And I've had my business for almost 3 years now, and I'm still on the same bottle, so it's gonna last you a while. All right, guys, I think that's it for now. I'm gonna head to bed. It's almost 12:30. I am a little bit tired. Please let me know if you guys have any questions, if you want any tips, if you want me to clean it up in a live. I can literally take it apart and do that on a live for you guys so you can kind of watch. Sandy, your machine is a little bit different, but more or less the same. You're gonna want to be very mindful of how you undo the screws, the order, things like that. But yeah, let me know. I'll probably, if you guys like, I'd go ahead and I'll do that on the live. Just let me know either on here or Discord. But yeah, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna head to bed. Thank you guys for watching again. If you haven't already and you would like to, please like the video and subscribe to my channel for similar content. Daisy's ready for bed too. Good night, you guys.